flex, flex, your hustle. Flex, 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 your hustle. Flex, 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 your hustle. Flex, flex, your hustle. Hey, flex, 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 your hustle. Hey, flex, 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 your hustle. Hey, flex, 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 your hustle. Hey, flex, flex, hey, flex, your hustle.
Welcome back to the Flex Your Hustle podcast. This is now episode 12, and this episode we're joined by Miss Anna Maria Abraham, and she will be a guest today on the podcast. She specializes in events and other activities surrounding events, but we'll dive a bit into her entrepreneurial journey soon. But before that, we just want to thank you all to the people that have kept on watching the podcast. It's been a couple months since we have dropped a new episode, but we are excited to get back on for the remainder of the year. So please like and subscribe and continue to support us in our journey as well. So yeah, how are you doing, Miss Anna?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's nice to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a while since we have had a podcast actually. Our last episode was in a couple months back, and it was with Miss Carey. And it's nice to have you now on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So just to hop in straight into it, I wanted to find out a bit more about your entrepreneurial journey. But to start off, maybe you can tell us where you are from here in Namibia.
All right. Formal introduction is I'm Anna Maria Abraham. I was born and raised in Tsumeb. I've lived my whole life in Tsumeb. Just went out of town to go to Windhoek when I pursued my studies. 2006. I did a degree in accounting and finance at the Polytechnic of Namibia back then, now NAST.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then I started my first job in Windhoek, and it was with a sponsorship of a bursary, and I found my accountant job here in Oshakati.
Okay.
That's where it all started in 2011.
Okay, that's really nice to hear. So were you always passionate about accounting or finance? Is that something that you always wanted to do?
Definitely. I remember when I passed my grade 10. So grade 11, you had to choose which field to go to. And I asked my elder sister, I have a lot of siblings. I asked my elder sister because I have a good sample in math and physics.
Okay.
Those were my best subjects. And then I asked my sister, but sister, which field pays more, like salary-wise? I was still young back then. I was just curious to know that I was doing the right decision.
Yeah.
But then, growing up from an entrepreneurial home, my mom was a vendor. She is still. So we used to sell here and there at home. I think that just kicked in, and the love of numbers had us going. And I chose my accounting.
Okay.
Until now, I'm an accountant.
Okay, that's really nice to hear. You know, a lot of people, when they're choosing their degrees or stuff like that, I remember when I had to choose, and initially I thought I wanted to be an engineer, a civil engineer. And then I went also and tried it out for a couple months, but I realized it was not for me. And then I came back and I realized, okay, no, I want to try IT. But initially the decision was also based on what pays more. I think a lot of people think of that before they get into university, only to find out that that's not the reality of
Definitely.
it. Yeah. So when did you realize that you would want to become an entrepreneur? Because you did go and get a degree with the intention of getting a job, right? But when was the change from being an employee to being an entrepreneur?
All right. I am still full-time employed. I'm still in full employment because I'm an accountant currently.
Okay.
Maybe I can just go back to the foundation where all the entrepreneurial drive started.
Yes.
Okay, growing up, as I earlier mentioned, my mom is a vendor. So we used to sell at the open market in Tsumeb. So we'll go to school in the morning. Afternoon from 2, we used to do shifts because we grew up in an extended family and we have a lot of siblings.
Okay.
So we'd go and sell oshikundu. That was the main. And then we had a farm. We go pick milk, sour milk from the farm just after Chivelo. Yeah, sour milk. And then we sold many other things like fat cook, fish. But then there was division of labor. The elders would do the fat cook and the fish because they would go by the nearby supermarkets and bottle stores, while us, the younger ones, will go to the open market after school. Okay, then when I became a teenager, I started having the need of having pocket money, the need of taking care of my basic needs. Mind you, we are living as a large family, and my mom was a breadwinner. So we had to bring in strategies on how to make extra money. I started selling lollipops, sweets at school. So when every afternoon before I sell my shukundu, I would run to Metro, get some stock, and then on average I could sell 2 packs. That's like 80 lollipops per day. Started off at a 50 cent. It was good profit by then for me because it could cater my needs. I would go and sell lollipops. So when we have sports or social gathering at school or other activities, I'll carry around a backpack. I always have my backpack with me where I pack my stock and make sales. So from that proceeds, I could buy for my toiletries. Sometimes I could also buy bread at home, depending on the need. That's where entrepreneurship kicked in. And then when I went to university, it was on a standstill. University was too serious. It's a city. We had to be serious with the books and just pass within the prescribed time. Remember, you are a lot at home. You could not waste time and resources of you being there. It's a privilege. So you had to utilize the opportunity.
And I guess accounting must have also been quite difficult in university.
Yeah, accounting, it was good. First year was good. First year is like a revision of high school. We got our distinctions and all that. Second year, you're getting to learn new things. Yeah, accounting for high purchase, construction, all those things. You are like, wow, okay. So accounting is just not selling, making profits, sales less operation, and then you get profit. There's more like different accounting needs that were there. And third year was the toughest, where you felt like, wow, I haven't studied enough, or maybe I'm not good enough, but you are putting in the effort. It's just that it was challenging. You had to apply the skill, you had to apply the knowledge, and also put in more work. Eventually, we graduated.
That's actually really nice to hear. You know, what do you think a student who's studying accounting needs to know about the whole process of going through varsity? Because like you said, when you start off, it's all rosy, it's revision, then the next thing you're hit by the next 2 years, which becomes difficult. How did you manage to push through all of that?
It's the focus. The moment you realize why you are there. Because varsity, you meet new people. You are from different town, new friends. Sometimes also your habits change, how you were raised. So, and also minding on the resources you have at hand. If you know from home, I can only get this. Especially peer pressure plays a big role. Because when we go to the city, there is so much entertainment. We could do sports. I was in leadership. I was an LRC at school. So all my life, primary school, high school, I was in leadership. But at varsity, I didn't try getting into those roles because I know it will take time. So I kept away from sports, from leadership. The good thing about my journey is that I had a friend whom I came with from Tsumeb, we were classmates and friends from primary until varsity.
Oh, okay.
And we left together when we were in Windhoek. So it made it easier because for her, she's not really into entertainment. And sometimes when I want to go astray, no, there's a show I need to attend. She said, but Sissy, we have a test to study for and the exams is coming. So she really kept me. So I could advise the students that they should pick their friends right. Have somebody whom you come from the same background and you have the same vision so that you gain. There were so many students who were together with, some were smarter than me, but some could not graduate. Why? Because of the focus. If you lose focus at varsity, life is good there because then you feel like you are a young adult. Now you can make your decision because now we start living on our own, no more with parents. So you really have to be
Staying in focus.
Yes, focus.
So I guess you pretty much appreciate what your friend did for you up to today.
Up to today, she's still my bestie. I appreciate her.
That's nice to hear. So now you're done with varsity. Did you get a job immediately in accounting after varsity?
No, that was a journey on itself. When I was done with varsity, with university, you don't graduate immediately after you're done and you know you have completed all your modules. So you graduate at the next official graduation. I had a sponsorship of a bursary, and immediately when I informed them that I was done with my modules, they called me in that I could do a job while they tried to secure me an accounting job.
Okay.
Now, it was a bank. Working in the bank, they kept me. I have worked as a receptionist and a PA to the regional director. It was nice. I stayed there a year and 6 months. But then while I was there, I could learn. It feels nice. You were still fresh from school. Having a job opportunity, you feel like you are adulting, starting to take responsibility. But then my struggle was getting to secure an accounting position. I did internal applications, but then with the bank, the system is different. They did not give me the preference that I was a bursary student until when I thought, why not try outside? And then if there's an obligation, because the agreement was for me to work at least for them the number of years they sponsored me, which was 3, and or to pay back the obligation equivalent to the funds they've provided me. I took the risk. I applied outside. I got an interview here, and then I got a job in Oshakati. That's where my accounting work all started. Then I started accumulating experience. So today I have 11 years accounting experience.
So you've actually been in that industry for quite long. But do you think going from the job that you previously had in Windhoek and coming to Oshakati, how did that take you out of your comfort zone? Because like you said, you were enjoying being there, but you did need an accounting job.
Firstly, I was grateful for the chance of starting to accumulate the relevant experience I needed for my degree, just to add value on it. Because in career academics, you can't grow further if you do not have experience in your field. Okay. Coming here, I had asked my elder siblings, because I'm the second last born out of 9. I asked them, some were saying no, going away from the city and all that. I took the risk. A decision had to be made. I came, but today I do not regret that move. I'm grateful that I took the chance. And where I got my first job, it was an environment where you were allowed to express yourself, to learn, and the exposure was there. As much as it's away from the city, Oshakati also have its own benefits compared to being in the city.
And I keep hearing that a lot. And actually, something that I've heard from a lot of business people here is that Oshakati has the most millionaires in Namibia. I don't know how true that is, but from what I see on the daily and the businesses and the entrepreneurial activities that are going on, there is a lot of business happening in Oshakati, but in the north in general. So now that you're working this side in the north, how did you continue just with the job, or did you start working on something else?
At first I continued with the job. I think I was excited to get in the working class. I continued with the job. And I went 2011 to 2013. I was just in the job. I did not bother to look for other business activities of my own, but of work, because the job where I started is a retail. It's a retail pharmaceutical industry. I could organize events, soccer tournaments, Easter weekends, just for the brand to go on. And then that's when my boss then realizes that, why you are so different. Apparently, I was not supposed to be the girl I am, but he could put a face to my name or to my character. And then he said, you acted noble. He said that to me. Out of curiosity, I went to the dictionary, read up on it. I was like, okay. And that came from, we did a charity, the profits that we did from one of our social activities. We did a charity and donated some clothes to the premature
children.
Yeah, in the Shakati State Hospital.
Okay.
Yes, and then he said, I'm Noble. Since then, that became a nickname until now. So
so he still calls you Noble.
Yes, not just him, but my friends. It's now
Your colleagues.
popular. They call me Noble.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's a good nickname to have,
It
But
adds value.
there's something that you mentioned though. You said that you were enjoying being in the just entering into the working class. What are the things that you learned when you entered the working class environment? Because I think that's something that every student wants to know. How does it feel to enter into the working class group and do the so-called adulting?
Firstly is the independence, especially there by the finances. You are financially independent and you are young. I didn't have lots of responsibilities. I could take care of myself, choose the place where I would be, choose where I would be, the social activities I could go, and also the fact that I'm getting the experience. I was like, wow, I'm really putting what I've learned at varsity to use. Then I was like, okay, so where to from here?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's actually nice to know. I think a couple of challenges that I personally faced when I started working was that, the independence sometimes can confuse you and it can consume you. But I feel like everyone has to go through that period and learn from it. Yeah. So now I'm back to your story, but after now being in the job for 3 years, what was the wake-up call for you to start a business?
Okay, just in time. 2013, I got a son. His name is Genesis.
Okay.
Yes. And then 2014, I got a new job.
Okay.
Yes. And then it was a senior accountant. It was a supervisor position. It was growth for my career growth.
Okay.
Okay, getting a new job, they give you pension payout, right? So I got that pension payout. I put it, being an accountant and financial discipline, I put it away in my savings. And then 2014, cross over to 2015. I'm a church girl. I attend church. Yeah. My pastor was preaching, and then he mentioned a verse from Isaiah, and then it was saying, prepare the land, prepare your environment, that so that when the rain falls, there will be ditches that you have dug to hold the water, so that the water not just run away, and when you sow something, it will be able to grow. Okay. That's when I got the idea, like, wow, I think I have a business idea, but I just didn't thought of starting it yet. And at my previous job, I saw my colleague, she used to rent out castles and all that. So I started observing the market in the north. Then I realized it was just a few things. Few people, if it's not one, it's or two that owned the castle. Then I say, okay, I can perhaps use some of my pension proceeds, and then I just buy one just to have extra income. Not that I'll be full-time running a business. I didn't think it was going to be a business or it's a foundation of something big. Okay. Then I started with one castle. That's when I bought my new castle, February 2015.
Okay. So like this is a jumping castle, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is mostly just for kids to jump on. Okay, so you said you just bought one after realizing how important it is to have something on the side also working for you. Okay, and how did it go from then? Did you know that it would turn into the business that you have now?
No, initially I never thought of that.
Okay.
I just thought of it as having an extra income, and also the fact of the preaching that I got. And it was saying we should have extra source of income, multiple streams of income. I thought, okay, now this is my field. When you're hearing something and it's within your line, you take charge and you claim it. That's when it all started.
Okay.
Yes.
So how's been your journey since then? Like, how long did you start with jumping castles before you transitioned into doing more events?
I had the castle. I started advertising. You know, when you are new in business, you also become desperate. You advertise, you share with friends. Please share. Social media came in very handy. I advertised, sent to my friends. And then there were two friends of mine that pushed me. One friend of mine's neighbor had a kiddies party, and there was a setup, table laid, kids were seated, something nice. She took pictures and she sent me. She said, "My friend, you can do this. When are you adding all this to you?" That time I was involved in a social league. I used to play volleyball just to keep busy in my afternoons and my weekends. I was like, I do not have time. I'm working. And then she said, no, the fact that you started, you can still make it big. You can grow.
Okay.
All right. And then, mind you, that's when I had my son.
Okay.
Yeah, I got my son 2013. His first birthday, July 2014, I hired a castle. We used a castle, somebody else's, at our house. And then 2015, we bought mine, in Feb, and his birthday was in July. So I worked myself so that by July, I could have a setup party, but with my own, and then that's where we launched the whole Genesis event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you bought the jumping castle in February, and your son's birthday was in July, right? And you just bought all the other equipment that you needed in preparation for your son's birthday.
Definitely. That's where it started. That's how I launched everything. I invited my friends. You know, I'm extra entrepreneur. Sometimes you go in extra. Okay, join us for Genesis' second birthday. But then it's also a business launch. I mentioned that. My friends came out. They were supportive. Some of my siblings traveled because they work out of town. And then we launched Genesis Creations and Event. That's where it started full.
That's really nice to hear. And the fact that it started just from one jumping castle, that's really inspirational. And I guess someone who is wanting to get into events would really understand that that's all they need. Something. They just need to start with something.
I'm going to involve saying my pastor too much because he's like a mentor. He teaches us the word, but then he also gives you ideas how to activate it, how to make it work for you. Yeah. From there, my pastor told us, don't be afraid to start. For as long as you are breathing, you are able to do something. And then he told us, start where you are, use what you have. So I was like, all right, I've started now. I just added the tables, and then the decor setups have also started. From there, I started getting calls. I started marketing. I started creating banners, using Facebook adverts. And then that's where it all started.
That's really nice to hear. So I guess you learned everything aside from accounting as an entrepreneur in your business, because I hear that you said you started doing marketing, you started doing Facebook ads, which are all things that I guess a lot of business owners try to do, and it's really important. But just to go back, you did mention that social media did play a role in your marketing. What do you have to say concerning people advertising their businesses on social media?
Wow. I think social media is the thing that connects us all now. If you want something to be done, get on social media. We all have smartphones now. Everybody's out there looking out for something. When they need a service or so, they go on social media. So for me, back then it was WhatsApp. It's WhatsApp and Facebook that did the most. And then Instagram came in handy because when people come to want to use your service, they ask, can you show us your previous work? Can you show us samples? And it's good when you have a page which you upload your work. It speaks for itself. You do not need to convince somebody on, no, I can also do this setup. They can look at the pictures and on the videos that you made, and then they'll be able to decide what service they will need from you.
Definitely. And I look at social media as a powerful tool because even in our line of business, I run a marketing agency, and it's important that we use social media. It's the quickest way to get hold of someone today. And I can get hold of you through WhatsApp. I can get hold of you through any other platform and share with you the work that I've done 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And it becomes pretty useful. So now, as an entrepreneur, you've started your business and it's going well. What are the things that you had to learn, or the challenges that you had to learn lessons from as an event planner?
As an event planner, firstly, it was the market penetration, because I found people that had castles before me, and I was not known. So I had to create awareness to be known.
Okay.
Firstly, my castle had a branding. There's Genesis there. I named the business after my son's name.
Okay.
Genesis Creations and Event. Okay. So there's a branding on the castle and my contact number. That's one. When it comes out there, somebody wouldn't need to ask, where did you hire this? Because the name is already on the castle when they use it. Okay. And brand awareness, I had to create posters. I had to create leaflets so that people know about you
And the services that you offer.
and the services that you offer. And my other challenge was also pricing, because when you are new in the business, then you want to set your cost very low for people to secure a client, for people to use your service. There, it's a danger zone. Pricing, you need to do your cost calculations, and then you do your markup to be able to put the selling price. Because sometimes if you do it that way, just for being desperate for business, you can make a loss.
And it definitely is something that I guess a lot of business owners need to think about, because I get it, sometimes we just want to have a customer. And like you said, sometimes when you become an entrepreneur, you become desperate. But now you set your price so low that people, they end up not respecting your service.
They'll
also
think it's cheap or it's not of quality. You know, when the price is attached to the service that you give, sometimes your work must speak for you. When they look at it, they must get it a wow. And then when you give them the pricing, they will not complain. They say it was worth the service.
Exactly.
I can't stress that enough. I've learned the hard way. I've taken samples from other people's services, adjusted to mine. Maybe I can just lower mine for people to know me. But sometimes I can say that my setup is way better than the one I'm comparing myself or putting myself below. That is very tricky. The other challenge was securing reliable suppliers. You know, events is just not a castle alone. Okay, castle I've managed to get, but then with Kiddies event, I need party packs, I need party accessories, different themes, because you need different themes for every setup.
Yes.
The characters, it's a vast industry. You just don't get limited to one. So I had to contact suppliers, research, go on their website, see what I can get from this supplier, which is cheaper for me to be able to make a good profit.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. And also the clients now, your market segment. You should know where you can secure a client. There are clients where they just need to hire items because their budget is way below your cost or your standard package that you were offering.
Okay.
Yes, so those are the challenges or as a new entrepreneur.
Okay. So when it came to like securing clients, I guess also you had to learn how to speak to clients and how to handle clients as well, because sometimes they have a lot of questions to ask. And I guess it's important, you know, like you said, that sometimes their budget doesn't meet your standard package that you're offering, and you ended up now renting out specific pieces of equipment. And that's smart, because you're doing basically what the market tells you. The market is telling you to say, okay, I get you have a package, but then sometimes I only just need chairs.
Exactly.
And it's only for us to listen to our business. And that's why it's important as an entrepreneur to listen to our business and what the client is saying. So now that you've been working in events for so many years, and also with the accounting background, I wanted to ask, like, now that events it's pretty much a female-dominated industry. There's a lot of ladies that are working on events and weddings and jumping castles as well, and renting out decorations. But what advice would you give to another female that wants to enter into the same field?
Okay. My advice would be the market is big. everybody can have a piece from the pie. If somebody is exclusive or offering luxury events, there are those that are starter that has a low budget. So you just pick your clients right. So don't enter with an aim of having competitors. Sometimes when working with others, it can also be a collabo. If I'm good at setup and my other competitor is good with putting up balloons and so, we can do a collab on the same event so that the party looks good and we can sell it by the pictures and also by the word of mouth. You know, clients, when a client speaks good of your service and they say it to another one, it goes without saying. Definitely the other people could be influenced and they say, I saw your service set up where. I would like to use your service, or I need a similar setup. Yes. And also we put in mind the 4 Ps. You should know of your product, the type of service or product that you are offering. It's very much important. If you define that, you will not be confused or get diluted when you see other person is offering something else. Then you need to be like a specialization. At least have power in one. Do something excellent. If you do something very good, others can fall in place with time.
And then you mentioned there's 4 Ps. And you said the first thing is the product.
The product.
And the second one?
The pricing. I've emphasized on that before. And then it's the place that you're trading from. Your location should be accessible to clients. It should be convenient that they can reach you, especially for the equipment rentals, when they are the ones to come and pick it from your place and not you taking the whole setup there. Your location should be convenient to the customers. And then it's the pricing, the place, the product, and the promotion. Never stop advertising. On my status, every day, if I don't feel good that day or have a cute dress that I can upload a picture of myself, I will put my products. I'll put a party that I had, a different theme. Every day I advertise my business. Every day I should put it out there. Every chance you get to promote your business, do it. I've participated in the Ongwediva Trade Fair twice. That event is so big. It has so much money to just secure a simple spot. But when I did that in the 2 years, it was worth it because I had to take my team. We had to sell as much as we could for us to cover the cost that we have paid and also to make a little profit on top of that. That was marketing. At least people that come from Windhoek or different offices, agencies that come and exhibit there, they know of our setup. Yes. And
it's actually really true, what you're saying. It's very true what she's saying. She does post on her status every day. I see Genesis creations and events on her status. But I feel like that's very important to post every day. Like on my side, I feel it's also important that regardless of how I'm feeling, I need to share the services of my business, because a customer doesn't see your poster the first time and say, I want this service.
Exactly.
It's very rare for that to happen. That has to be someone who's been looking for months for your services. But then what happens is that when they see your post every day and every day and every day, the day they need to rent something or to get a jumping castle or to do an event, what happens is that they remember, I've been watching this status for over the couple past weeks, and now let me call Genesis Creation and Events because I've seen their poster and it's consistent. And I feel like this is something that happens a lot with entrepreneurs. At first, when we start a business and we tell our friends that we're starting a business, we tend to slow down and just forget to say that no, this business needs to be sustained. And then what ends up happening is that we just made a business to tell our friends that we've made a business and not really to make money. And then we need to end up differentiating between, are we running this thing just to please people on the status or to actually make a sustainable business? And I want to know, what do you think about that? Do you think that entrepreneurs should know why they start a business?
It should be a constant reminder. It's to remain relevant. You must be relevant in the market and going concern. Like, where do you foresee yourself? Are you adding value? Are you adding new products? So, and mostly, Your friends or family are mostly not your clients, because those ones, when they come, they want a discount, they want a cheaper price. So you should be relevant. That's why I've created the social media pages. The businesses now I've venturing, because now I've started doing the adult decor as well.
Okay.
Yes, so now I have 2 Instagram pages, one for the kiddies event, one for the adult decor. And then I have 2 Facebook pages, one for the adult, one for the kiddies. It's very important to constantly enhance your product. Also to improve and add on. So I started with the plastic chairs, the small colorful plastic chairs that we use in kindergarten. That was our beginning. But now if you ask me what type of chairs I have a line of 5 different chairs that you can pick from the kiddies event, which is relevant. Each time you must add something to improve your service, because sometimes you have clients that have been using your service constantly, returning clients, and then this year they will not want the same chairs you used last year.
The same setup from last time. Yeah.
Exactly. So you should add the twist, add flavor, buy more products, add on more things that can get the business going and make it more exciting for the clients. They like new things. And here in the North, everybody wants to feel better than the other. They want to set the trend. When it comes to that, that's when you step up and you take the opportunity for growth. That's how we started growing. We started buying new type of chairs. We started buying glossy table instead of the plastic tables that we put tablecloth on, just to remain relevant and ahead of your competitors. As much as business is good, I network, I complement, and I do collabos with the others. There should something that sets out that I'm Genesis. Do you know the meaning of Genesis? It's in the first book of the Bible.
Yes, in the first book. I think it means to the beginning.
It's the beginning. Yeah. So it's the beginning, and you should remain first. Yes, that's something that I always boost myself. Like, what am I adding? Why should we remain first? Why should we be the preferred service provider? Yes. That's
really true. And I like what you're saying, that you need to put aside something to improve yourself. And I was just having a conversation with a colleague just 2 days ago, and they are talking about how they are improving their business. And they said to me, like, I'm not buying myself shoes. I'm not buying myself fancy watches, fancy phones and stuff like that. And it's not to say you shouldn't buy yourself clothes. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, the person was basically saying to me that they are not spending their profit unnecessarily. Yeah. Because I look at that, and you see people that start a business today. Let's say you and I start doing events today.
Yes.
You see, after 2 years, you have a line of 5 different chairs. And I'm still having one type of chair to use for events.
You come rent from me, my friend. You come rent from me.
Most definitely I will. But in the case like that, we've made money in those 2 years, but you keep growing and I'm not growing. Then later we wonder to say, why is it the other person is growing? But it's because when the money comes in from our profits, we are able to quickly put it aside and use it as capital for the next movement. And I think that goes back to what you said, that you had financial discipline to know to say that you had to put your pension aside just so you could start something else. And that was really wise. So I wanted to ask, how does one develop financial discipline?
I think it's a choice. It's a choice that you make daily. Financial discipline is a state where you decide yourself on what to prioritize, on what you think will benefit you in the long run. Don't think for today. Even the Bible somewhere says, the wise is those that plow back. The story of Ruth in the Bible, she was a widow. But then she plowed in a field and got something out of it. But instead of chopping that, eating up all that she had, she saved that as a seed for the next plowing season. So we should constantly plow back. My personal experience is that 2019, at first you also want to feel good. As much as I've sacrificed for myself, my personal story is the business that I'm running is self-funded. Well, I started with a castle. what then? I haven't stopped there. I continue. Sometimes I'll work. When I get my salary, I add a new set of little things that are needed. Definitely, I'm not going to get that profit from the next sale and use it all up. Because right now, as we are speaking, I have 5 jamming castles and they require maintenance. They need to be cleaned. After every usage, I prefer they are cleaned just to have it maintained so that they don't get damaged. They get damaged and they have to go to the appraiser so that he can put them together and it's ready to use again so that we can keep it for longer. So if you don't maintain your equipments, the business can easily die. So in 2019, I realized I was also starting to spoil myself. There's nothing wrong because at my age, I put hold on buying myself a car. I was like, no, let me work hard now. And then I save up my money because I cannot do with a small car. I need at least a pickup truck or a buggy for the services that I'm rendering. And then I'll cut out on the transportation cost for hiring trucks and other transporters. That's just a decision I made. And then from then I said every money that I'll be receiving from now on, I put it back into the business. But then it was a good decision that I made for myself. Still on financial discipline. I want to shine like others, yes. But then you just have to strike a balance. I take good care of myself. I must look good and I should survive. I should have a social life as an entrepreneur. I shouldn't kill myself. Oh no, I should look good all the time. Yes. So I did that and it had worked for me. 2019 to now, I have grown. Even people that I found in the business, they come hire those chairs from me. They need what from me. It's a choice I made. It still goes back to choices. So advice to the entrepreneurs, set your choices right, have those priorities on what you want to do, and also have plan of the business. So for me, when I see something, I check other event planners. Nigerians, they go big on kiddies event. If you go there, a parent could spend 10K on a kiddies party. I look at them, I say, okay, this is a good one. If I add it on, I can make a profit. But since then, I started with one castle, but now if you come to my warehouse, it's full. I have pictures, I'm running out of space. Now I'm thinking I need bigger space for storage as well, because I'm plowing back into the business. The moment, maybe the advice I can give to entrepreneurs, the moment you start eating business money, the moment you just say, let me spend it, it might be drawings. It's drawings, you spend it on yourself, but when are you going to pay back to the business? If you do that, you can kill your business because the things, as people are using it, running it out, they are losing value and they're being used. Some even come back broken, the replacement cost and all that. So
now if you need to pay a replacement cost and you've been chopping the money all this time, you won't be able, and then that's how it slowly starts to bleed. And I read somewhere to say businesses where they have an owner that's eating into the profits, those are called bleeding businesses. And
sole traders.
Yes, the sole traders, So now it comes a situation where you don't cut off the bleeding to the business and it's slowly dying until all the equipment breaks and then there's no money to either repair those things or to buy new ones. And I like the fact that we're talking about financial discipline because it's something that not only applies to events, but to all lines of businesses. I also had that problem when I started my business. You want to spoil yourself.
Yes.
And I think you're enjoying the fact that you are able to make money and you are starting to understand that money is something that can be made out of thin air. But also it can go in thin air at the same time. And there's a phrase that I keep on hearing, when you read financial books, they say pay yourself first. And it doesn't mean buying yourself or spoiling yourself with things, but it means putting money aside for yourself in the future.
Yeah.
That's how you pay for yourself. And I think that's some good advice that you mentioned to the entrepreneurs and something that definitely they can apply when they are starting their businesses or now that they already have a business. But now as a female entrepreneur, what challenges have you faced in the industry as a female entrepreneur yourself?
It's a female entrepreneur. The recent one is like going for adult event. Then I set up this big tent and I'm with a team. When we're working with a team, you will not know who's the boss because we are all involved. I have a number of people. I think I employ, let's say 10 people, but we work on events. I do not employ them permanently, but they are employees in the sense that they get wages after every event.
Okay.
So when we do setup, you find people undermining me. They'll come and ask, wow, this setup is so beautiful. Who's the owner? The moment they ask that, my team members just look at me. I say, okay, I am. Say, all this is you? Yes.
So they are surprised.
They are surprised. It's me. Any female can do it. Now, I wouldn't say every young because I've been in this thing now for long. At least I have experience I've built on. But when you are young, don't be discouraged or be intimidated by people saying you are too young to own something or too young to do something, and you are a woman for that matter. No, I'm a woman, but we can drive those trucks. We can load those trucks. We lay those mats on the floor for us to put up a setup. Female entrepreneurs, you are able, do that thing, make yourself proud and build on your brand. The very important thing is female-owned brand are easily what? Undermined. But the moment they see their artwork, let your work speak for itself. When they see your work, that's when they put the respect on your name. Just like me, when I started, only my female siblings were buying into the thing. Sometimes I call them for advice. When I have funds, I say, I've accumulated 10Ks. Should I buy chairs or should I invest in another jamming castle? And then my big sisters would ask, okay, how many times do you get demand for the chairs? Do you think you need it? How many times do you rent chairs for your events? And they give me, that is wisdom. Wisdom is asking for advice from the elders. And I'm so lucky because we were born a lot and I have elder siblings. And then my brothers, they were there first, they didn't realize. But last year I was surprised that now they both made proposal. Okay, Noelle, they call me Noelle, second last born. Don't you think you need a frame tent now? So they are starting to believe in me. It rings a bell. It makes me feel good that at least my elder brother is thinking that what I'm doing is right. What I'm doing is what? It's not relevant, but something that it makes
it's profitable.
Yeah, it's profitable and there's a future in it. That I was just not playing around or just to make something that won't work out. I was like, wow, this is good. If my own brother wants to push me and boost me, frame tent doesn't come cheap. It's over 100K. But if he has to bring that proposal to me, I'll take it gladly because now it's challenging if you have to bring in partners, knowing the fact that I funded this myself. I started from the ground. I laid the foundation. Foundation takes time, patience, funds, sweat, sometimes even stress. As entrepreneurs, I make a joke that people pay us to stress on their behalf.
Yeah, and that's really true. You know, I as an entrepreneur, I think like right now, if you were to stop doing events and you were to start a new business, I feel like you would succeed because the principles don't change really. The reason why entrepreneurs get paid and a lot of entrepreneurs get paid more than employees is because we are getting paid to fix problems every single day. We are like the firefighters of society.
Yeah.
And when that happens is that you get paid more for the bigger problem that you solve. And now when I look at it, and you started off with just a few equipment and resources, and now you're able to pull off much larger events, it explains why you start to make more money. Because, for example, if you want to pull a festival, that's a really big problem because there's a lot of work that goes into that.
The input
and the stress and sweat, like you said. But I wanted to ask, like, how do you remain mentally capable during that time? Because it's a lot of stress, like you said, but how do you keep yourself sane?
Keeping sane. What is important to me, or what is my source, is God. I can't tell you. I can't stop telling you about God. I am a church girl. I make sure I attend my church service, and it's to my benefit, or lucky me, that I am hooked to the right church. I should really emphasize that you are linked to the right church where you get equipped. Like my pastor, he preaches a lot on self-development. He does not the spirit of hard work. He does not want people to lay around and to be idle. He wants us to improve ourselves daily. So for me, God is my source, firstly, and then for me, it's family, my siblings. It was a blessing to have a lot of them. When I was growing up, I felt like the resources was too little for us to share. But now that we are growing, it's a blessing to have them. Because now, if I'm struggling, I can call my brother, no, I need to pull up this event. The client only deposited this much, but I need something, a luxury table that I can pull up. If I use that, next time other people, referrals will come in and all that. And also, I'm very active. I have a social life. I travel with my sisters. We have traveled to Namibia many times. We're a group of 10 ladies. We travel, we have fun. At least twice a year, we go to different resorts. We travel. I have fun in that. And then I do sports. I used to play volleyball. I was a chairperson there. It kept me busy. And now that I joined the boot camp, it's needed. So it just makes up a lifestyle. Yeah, as much as you are into business, don't forget to take care of yourself. The body that works hard needs to exercise so that you are sane and you also think faster and you feel well. Wellness is very important also to entrepreneurs, because I've seen and observed many entrepreneurs who will just be in business, and some also stresses or some get into debt. When we do this, it's very wise that you do not trade your business and you get into debt. As I'm speaking, I'm proud to say that at least I've funded my own business throughout with the help from my siblings, I would say, the encouragement from my friends, because I had 2 friends
that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
also
those ones, they are the ones that pushed me. They say, no, you can do this, do that. I'm forever grateful for them. And then I have an elder cousin that every time I post something, be it on a story, on my feeds, on social media, she will comment, go Genesis, go. And then she will share it on her page. That one, I've given her title. She's the patron of the brand.
Okay.
She's
the ambassador.
She's the ambassador because she's always after me and she pushes me. She's proud. She really expresses how proud she is for me. So being sane, keeping out of debt, it's very important, especially by SMEs, startup. You don't take loan that you cannot pay back. I think that one very much. I haven't done it myself, but I've seen people, my competitors, people going out for loans. But business, sometimes it's not, the cash inflow is not constant. You have a client today, you do not have any. Like this year alone, we did not do a lot of kiddies party setups. Probably now I'm at the level of maturity. Now I know the worth of my service. I know the standard that I cannot do a setup without centerpieces. If I get a client, I give them a code and they say remove this and this and this, I just tell them I can't do below that. I'll just advise you. I send them my DIY packages because I have that standard. In that package, like for the kiddies, I'm using my old chairs. They must remain relevant. The small plastic colorful chairs that I started with, those ones I built for them a package. 10 kids, it's 400. Then I put it's enough for him to have a basic setup. Because once you start doing low, people will manipulate you, but then they do not understand the foundation you built, the import and the sacrifices that I've put into the business to build a brand.
And I feel like there's more than just money involved when it comes to your cost price.
It is.
Because it's a lot of effort, like you said, and the thought process into getting and delivering that service, it goes a long way. But there's something that I like that you mentioned. You said that you collaborate with other people. And how important is that to you? Because another conversation I had a couple of weeks back is that we are so focused on competing with each other and seeing who is the best. But then you mentioned earlier that you collaborate with other people. How is it that collaborating with other people important to you?
It's very important to me. Yeah, the reason I value it is that I will give you my life experience or the examples that it really came in handy. There was a time I was traveling for the girls trip. A client called me for a quotation, but they never confirmed. I assumed they never accepted the quote. So when I was traveling, they are calling me. The setup is still tomorrow. I said, ma'am, I've traveled. And for me, I can't just show up for the sake of securing the bag and offer. I could send my team, but I did not prepare them. So I will, when I'm not around and my team is around, I will write a list, 6 tables, 12 chairs, what and what, so that I leave everything in order and they are ready to go. I tell them, I'm unable to do it. However, I'll refer my competitor. Yes, then I refer. It came in handy. At least the client was not deserted. Earlier this year, I had a client, she planned, but it was a child's baptism and they didn't have a date. But then she secured her booking with a deposit. Now that's tricky because I've already received partial payment to the invoice. Now I had to call just before their setup. I lost my grandmother. So, and me being an event planner, I have to be there to make sure that things are in order and all that. I had to refer the other planner. She came in handy. I just told her, just pay everything by me, and then we sort ourselves out this side. My competitors came through. Imagine now if I was unable to refer somebody because I was not kind to my competitor, or we were competing and then I say nasty words. That's not nice.
I guess it would really put you in a difficult position with your client.
Exactly.
And I think as business owners, we need to understand.
We
need to do everything we can to keep the client. Everything we can, even if it means referring them to your competitor, and your competitor will also refer people to you. I feel like this, like you said earlier, the pie is that big enough for all of us.
It's big enough for everyone. We can all have our share. It's just that sometimes we just need to have our specialization. Know your power. If you know you are good at balloons, focus on that. Even when I have an event, I will hire you that, my friend, I have an event here, but you are doing the balloons. Even if we do not disclose, the setup and the costing is all done by me, but then they do not know that I hired my competitor. How will they know?
If they won't know it's one team.
It's one team. They'll think they're part of the team. They would not know. And also, mostly entrepreneurs is sole traders, like we are one person. Anything can happen to you. Let's say you are in an accident or you are unable, you are hospitalized. If you can't work with others, we'll come through for you. If you are down on your sick bed, it's relevant to maintain good contacts and good relationship among the other service providers.
That's really key. I appreciate that so much. And lastly, I wanted to find out from you. You said you work with a group of 10 employees. How do you keep your employees motivated to work?
Okay, I wish we could feature a video of us here working as a team or pictures. I have pictures and I motivate them. I just make sure that I care for them and I take good care of them. So far, I've worked with a number of students. So when they come for holidays, we are game. We do the work. When it's school time, they go back to school. But at least when they are there, I remember them. I funded, I think it's 4 girls now for their graduation. One I bought a dress. One I had them to have their manicure and pedicure done, just to add value to the kids. They are graduating now. It's their first graduation. And I know the process that sometimes all funds are not sufficient. Yeah. When you do that, you pass it on, and then I tell them, you don't need to refund me or pay me back in any way. All I would want you to do is just to pass it on to the next needy person. Yeah, so I have those students, and sometimes when I make good sales, maybe I just have a jamming castle rental. It's for 500, and financially I'm in a good space. I do not have need for that. So I just distribute that 500, 100 for each, for the ones that are at school. And they are grateful. At least when I put a post, each one take it and also put on their status. We are family.
The network becomes bigger.
The network comes big. And also I try to host, I try to brand. You see, I'm in my uniform today. So mostly when I go to do events, I'm in my leggings, I have a brand on. we are uniformed. We always wear our brand. We have our hats. They take it as their own. It belongs to them. They take ownership of the brand. You see, I'm trying to market, but on them, they feel good that they are clothed in the brand's name. And we also have our social gathering, year-end functions. We hold something, we bring our meat, we have refreshment, and we are good to go. So this year, I was also thinking, after the COVID thing, we didn't really have good gathering. We were avoiding that. So I'm thinking, Black Friday, let me buy some vouchers from NWR. Then we go on a resort and for a treat, and we do some team building. That's how I keep them busy, and also to be fair on their wages. Yeah. So at first, I think I was undercharging clients just to score the deal, the gig. But it's not always. So I said, these people work really hard. We wake up early mornings, especially with adult events. Wake up early mornings. We come back tired and exhausted in the evenings. So it's good that I charge a fair remuneration for them. That line I do not touch. I do not profit anything from the labor charge. The labor charge goes all to my employees, and I divide. When we are done, we wash our equipments and pack back. Each one get their wages, just for them to be happy.
That's really good.
Yes.
No, I actually appreciate the lessons that you've taught us here in the podcast and what you've mentioned to us about your experience. And I guess the public is very much happy to learn a lot of things about event planning. But we've just come to an end of episode 12 of our podcast. We want to thank you so much, Miss Anna Marie, for your experience and for the wisdom that you've given us. And we can't wait to go and use it on our own businesses in helping the next generation start their own. Yeah. I don't know if there's any last words that you want to say for the public.
Yes, I wouldn't go without saying a word. All I'm saying, it's possible. Just myself, an ordinary girl from Tsumeb, from an extended family. Who would have thought that I would build a brand? Now at least my brand speaks for me. Some people don't call me Anna, or they don't call me Noble. They will call me Mama Genesis. So that's a brand that I am. That's who I am. It's possible. You can do it. If God did it for me, He can do it for you as well. Stay focused, stay true to yourself, and just use what you have. Start where you are. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So now we are done with our episode 12. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next episode that will be coming soon with another entrepreneur who will be sharing their entrepreneurial journey with us. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and see you next time.
Flex, flex, your hustle. Flex, 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 your hustle. Flex, 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 your hustle. Flex.